Okay, my name is Tanner Hayes, and today we're going to talk about Autopsy, which is a digital forensics tool. So, what is Autopsy and why use it? So, Autopsy is beginner friendly and it is built on top of the Sleuth Kit, which is usually, you might know it as the command line kit that is used in Kali Linux. And instead, this is more of a GUI interface that is a lot more easier to use, I would say. So Autopsy is open source and it is free, and training is offered on Autopsy's website as well. Some features of Autopsy, which is listed on sleuthkit.org, is we'll go over a lot of this in the demonstration, but multi-user cases, timeline analysis, which is really useful. You do file type sorting, hash set filtering, tags, file type detection. These are just a few of many features that Autopsy is used for. Some of the training that Autopsy offers, not too expensive, but a lot of this is a very beginner friendly course. I wouldn't say that training is necessary, but it is good for people who's never really touched any digital forensics kind of tool. And this is how to download the tool. So you just go on Autopsy's website and you can download it for Windows, which I primarily use it in, or you can use it in Linux. And not too high of system requirements. You mostly need around 18 to 16 gigabytes of RAM, but besides that, pretty much any computer can run it. So HXD, which is a hexadecimal editor, and this works pretty much coincide or directly with Autopsy, and this can be used for all kinds of different stuff. I'll also demo this when we get to the demonstration part, but this has been a very handy tool that works perfectly well with Autopsy. And now we will get to the demo. Okay, so usually the first thing I do when I want to start working with Autopsy is I obtain a DD image of a drive or some kind of file type that I want to work on inspecting in an autopsy and extracting some kind of data from. So this one I pulled from a reputable online source, and I'll leave some links to those in the PowerPoint. And so what I did, so since this one didn't come with a hash value, we can just assume it's correct. But usually you want to, when you receive a DD copy of something or any type of file, you want to, usually they'll give you a hash and you want to confirm that that hash is actually correct. And then I created a directory and then dropped it in there. So let's start off by creating a case name. So we can just name this forensic problem. Then here we're going to choose a directory, which might take a second because it's a bit slow. Okay, so once your directory has been chosen, you can now go in here. We're going to generate the new host name based on the data source name, or you can also specify a new host name using existing hosts. Next, we're going to select your data source type. So, like it says, you're using a disk image or a VM file. So we're going to use this one because we have the DD image that we pulled off. We pulled offline. And then we have a local disk, logical files, unallocated space, image files, autopsy logical image results, and XRY text export. So autopsy supports a lot of different files for a lot of different. You can do a lot of different things with them, but today we're just going to go over the how to do it from the DD. All right, so now we're going to select our data source. And you see that it directed me already to here. We have it. We can put our MD5 hash values, SHA-1 or SHA-256. And it says these values will not be validated when the data source is added. So like I said before, we should make sure we're validating our hash values before we're just dropping things in Autopsy and start testing. Usually I keep most of this checked to set central repository. And let's see if our data source was added. Finish. You see this little bar down here. It should tell you after it's done analyzing the files from our image. Looks like it's good to go. First thing I do, I'll expand the data source section. We will go into the actual drive. And here we can see all kinds of fun things. First thing I usually do, I'll go through here, start looking at what I find. Okay, so now I'm going to start tagging these. So you can create new tags, which I would recommend doing. But I would try to tag things that you know you want to look at later. So for these images, I can actually go up here to this section called images and video. I can see all the images we pulled. And I'm going to want to export these images for later. And then I'm going to look at those hash values and see if I can find anything that may be interesting, like an embedded file or use some steganography tools on it. They have all these images. So I'm going to just make a new tag and we'll just name this cat. And description, cat images slash HXD. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Just add what kind of tag you want. See, there's pre-existing tags that are already here. But for this purpose, I'm just showing you want to name it and then use a descriptor. And you see now it's going to add a little tag icon here. So I'm not going to go through and tag every single one of them because that might take a minute. So here under file views, we can see our file types by extension. So I did that a little fast. So we have 11 images here. These are either JPEG, PNG, PSD, BMP, things like that. And then I can actually in Autopsy, I can look at the hex of the image. But if you notice right here, that's what I was mentioning earlier in the PowerPoint that we'd want to download HXD as well. And I can launch this in HXD and then actually go in here and then check the hexadecimal or binary and see if there might be any secret things hidden in here. So we'll go through quickly. You can also, which is really cool, is you could check the metadata and then see maybe when the file was created, who created the file. We can also see in the metadata, there's a SHA and MD5 values for this image. Then once I've looked through here, these images, I can actually hold down shift, click at all these, right click them, and then I can extract these files. Or I couldn't add tags to all of them at once if I would like to do that too. And then we're just going to export those files. So those are just the images that we found in here. We'll go back and see if there is anything else interesting. Now so a lot of times you will see a lot more than just a small amount of files in a lot faster way if you know what keywords you want to search. So let's just say search the keyword cat, and I'm looking for an exact match. Then it's going to show me every single file that is named cat. Cat memes, cat. But let's say I want to look for cats. See, that's filtering down to ones with only cats. So keyword search can be very useful if you're looking for something specific, and you just filter through the files a lot faster. Use the deleted files. I usually make sure I want to look at every single one of these that might seem a little suspicious. And I'll probably tag each one of these as a deleted file, and I'll look at these more in depth. Then lastly, instead of just looking at the images, we'll see here we have a file. And look, there's we found a possible flag. So it says, hello, you found some data. Well done. The secret code is let's go get some coffee. So I'll make sure to take note of this since it does mention a secret code that may be used to enter an Excel sheet or use this code for something later on. And I'll make sure to tag that as secret code and important. Okay. Okay, so that was just a brief overview of autopsy. I could spend a long time going over exactly every use of autopsy, but that would take a while. So let's just go over some of the basics again and summarize. So, like I said before, here's your steps to success. You want to make sure you're obtaining a raw disk and then checking the hash value of that. Create a directory. So organize your stuff and then store your extracts. Make sure you're storing this safely and securely. We want to time log our create a time log sheet and save screenshots. So we want to document everything we can. Then once we've got everything uploaded in Autopsy, we are going to tag it or flag it. And then we're going to export that. And then we're going to look further into that through the other many forensics tools that we can use with Autopsy. So in summary, you want to load your data, keyword search within that data, which will save you a lot of time, especially if you're looking at a plethora of files. If you find anything interesting, we're going to flag it and tag it. And lastly, we're going to generate a report. Some additional tools and resources. These are just a few. There's so many really good tools that work with autopsy and just digital forensics in general. So some free data sets that I've been testing on is on this website right here. And then if you want to create a bootable USB, we can use Rufus. And then to check the hash, we have a link to the hash my files application here. And that is it.